Today's the big day. The Democrats have taken over the House. And what's one of the first things they do? Democratic lawmaker to introduce articles of impeachment against Trump on the first day of a new Congress. And the left and Democrats have often talked about impeaching Donald Trump. The issue is there isn't really anything to impeach him for. And moderates and mainstream pundits recognize this, left and right. Sure, you might not like the guy, and of course left-wing activists and the far left want to impeach him, but, well, I should say, a lot of people want to impeach him from the left across the board, but he didn't really do anything, right? However, he has still filed, and his reasoning, obstruction of justice. So let's read. Brad Sherman, a Democrat from California, intends to introduce articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump on Thursday as the new session of Congress convenes. The LA Times reported that Sherman's measure will accuse Trump of obstruction of justice in the firing of former FBI Director James Comey, among other things. There is no reason it shouldn't be before Congress, Sherman told the news outlet. Every day, Donald Trump shows that leaving the White House would be good for our country. I mean, the left seems to be pretty pro-war right now, but I think actually disrupting the government with an impeachment process would be pretty bad for our country too. It's kind of tough. I gotta say, I don't know if this is the right course of action. Every member of the House will have to address the issue whether there are formal articles of impeachment pending, Sherman told the Times. Oh, he says, there's one more actually. Sherman said he doesn't believe that introducing the resolution in the new Congress will cause any issues for his Democratic colleagues, despite party leadership giving indications that they prefer to focus on legislating and oversight. And also, there's a lot of mainstream Democrats who are concerned if they bring these articles against Trump, it's going to make them look bad. Because it's really silly, the amount of just Trump derangement syndrome. The California Democrat previously filed articles of impeachment on similar grounds in July 2017 and was among nearly 60 Democrats who voted in favor of launching impeachment proceedings in December 2017. The measure overwhelmingly failed. Yes, there are still Democrats who aren't going to support this. It's kind of nonsense. Democrats will retake the House majority on Thursday, giving the party a greater ability to bring impeachment measures to the floor. Nancy Pelosi, who is expected to be elected Speaker on Thursday, has said she does not intend to seek grounds for impeachment unless there is clear evidence and bipartisan consensus on the issue. Other Democrats have called for special counsel Robert Mueller to finish his investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election before pressing impeachment. President Trump has downplayed concerns about impeachment proceedings in the new Congress, saying in a December interview that he believes the American people would revolt if that happened. And yes, Trump has made similar statements in the past, that America would revolt if he was impeached. However, Trump also implied at one of the rallies, so Trump did a rally before the midterms, and he implied that if the Democrats take Congress, he may be impeached. So maybe Trump was just using that language to try and drum up support for the various Republicans, but as it so happens, the Democrats have won, and yes, here we go. Now here's the thing. There's a lot of people on the right saying, oh geez, here they go, they're filing their articles of impeachment, and there are a lot of people on the left going, yes, this is it, woohoo! And it's like, yeah, but this isn't the first time this dude has done this, and even the other Democrats in Congress don't care. 60 people, okay? The Democrats had, what, a couple hundred? So this is a story from a year ago. The nearly 60 Dems who voted for impeachment. An unexpectedly high number of Democrats voted in favor of an effort to launch impeachment proceedings against President Trump on Wednesday, revealing the growing agitation among liberals to remove him from office. But here's what I want to point out. So first, I'll just read this. The House voted overwhelmingly, 364 to 58, to table a resolution from Representative Al Green laying out articles of impeachment against Trump, with 4 Democrats voting present. All Republicans voted with 126 Democrats to defeat the resolution. Those Democrats included Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi and Minority Whip Steny Hoyer, who announced ahead of the vote they would vote to table the effort. I think this is a really good indication of the culture war, like a representation of where we are. And this was a year ago. So at the time, 364 to 58. I would argue that the 364 are on the anti-SJW side. I don't know how you really quantify the culture war. It's not really left versus right because you've got Democrats in agreement with the Republicans here. But these 58 represent the growing identitarian left. People who have Trump derangement syndrome and want Trump impeached even though he didn't really do anything. There's no, he didn't bang an intern in his office and then lie about it. You know what I mean? What Trump did so far, according to these people, has essentially just been a bad president. And that's kind of an opinion in a lot of capacities. It just depends on what your concern is. But we can see here that there are at least 58 people, and arguably 4 more who voted present, 58 people who care, like, this is just my opinion, right? I think these people are more interested in winning and pandering to the fringes of the left than what's actually going on with the presidency. And you see the more moderate candidates, people like Nancy Pelosi, who is pretty much hated by the far left candidates, saying, you know, she's basically said, no, we're not going to do this without bipartisan support. And it's kind of absurd that you'd even, of course it's absurd. Why is it even an issue? Well, let's read through this story. Let's see what they said. They cited the ongoing investigations by congressional committees and the FBI special counsel. Now is not the time to consider articles of impeachment, Pelosi and Hoyer said. Yet 58 Democrats, including Green, voted against tabling the resolution. Joaquin Castro of Texas, Mark Veazey of Texas, Carol Shea Porter of New Hampshire, and Terry Sewell of Alabama voted present. Shea Porter represents a district won by Trump in 2016. The resolution received 57 more votes than many expected. This is the first vote, but it will not be the last, Green said in a statement. I would say this, there's a lot of new people coming into Congress. There's a lot of news organizations are talking about how this is a historic Congress for diversity. I'd be willing to bet those new far left types, like Cortez, are going to vote in favor of impeachment. And especially when you realize Cortez really doesn't like Pelosi. In fact, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez joined a protest in front of Nancy Pelosi's house. And this is something that I talked about a few days ago, that the culture war, to me, it's not left versus right. The right is going to criticize the left as they always have done. The culture war is a fracturing within the Democratic Party, within the American left, over the soul of what the left will become. And this is a really good example. You have 58 people willing to impeach the president just because of what? Because of ongoing investigation. Now you have because of firing of James Comey, and these are just kind of like, it's not really a good enough reason to impeach a president because he fired somebody. You're making a lot of assumptions. But you still have this growing amount. Now, I imagine with this new push for articles of impeachment, you're going to see that number go up. By how much? Probably not that much, but it's showing the expanding influence of the far left taking over the Democratic Party. But it is important to point out, Cortez won her district on an exploit, okay? Because the district was overwhelmingly Democratic. All you have to do is win a primary. And because Joe Crowley underestimated her, and she won her primary, she was effectively voted in because people in her district won't vote for a Republican. In fact, a Republican was barely running in the first place. So now you have fringe elements that are moving into Congress, who are winning by slim margins for the most part, that overwhelmingly lose across the country. And I'm not doing this to criticize specifically these new far left progressive types. I'm doing this to point out, among Democrats around the country, they are not unified. They are split. And I show that graphic all the time where the Democrats have moved further and further left, but this is really what we're seeing. And this new element of the Democratic Party may be the future. People have said Ocasio-Cortez is going to be the future, and if that's the case, expect to see more impeachment against Trump. And I gotta say, this really is scary to me. It really is. Because think about what this means. What has Trump really done? They don't like him. They insult him. They think he's a bad person. Look, I'm not a fan of Trump. I think in a lot of ways, he is a bad person. Like, he's crude, he's crass, he insults people, he's a bully, and there's a lot of reasons why people like that. I personally don't. I don't agree with some of his policy choices. Pulling out of the war, hey, that's pretty good. North Korea, that's pretty good. Yemen commando raids, we'll see how this goes. He's not done yet. But I reserve judgment for the most part, aside from his cultural issues. But what does this mean? It means that a moderate individual like myself is going to be like, oh, God, Donald Trump. Can the Democrats rally some, like, professional, cultured, like, I don't mean elitist, I just mean, like, I like Bernie, I do, okay? He's got his problems, but he's one of my favorites. Can we get somebody who is passionate and stronger than Bernie? The answer is probably not. But look at how these people react with the impeachment. What it basically says is, even though Donald Trump won, and even though many people are begrudgingly saying, yeah, okay, he's the president, you have a new element that's rising that says, we don't care. We don't care if he's done anything wrong. In the past impeachment vote, where they got 58 people to vote, it was just because of ongoing investigations or something, right? What was their reason for wanting to even impeach him? Now they're talking about because he fired James Comey. What? He's the president. He's the chief executive. He's the head of the executive branch. He can do that. You might not agree with it. It might be disconcerting, but I don't think that's grounds for an impeachment, right? I mean, maybe you could argue, but still, it just feels like it's really reaching. Here's what worries me. It worries me that we're coming to a point where the new elements of the left just refuses to have any moderate policy or compromise. Like, the Green New Deal is extreme. Eliminate all carbon emissions in 10 years. Well, hold on. Like, we can do something here, but we've got to work within the system. This is probably why they don't like me, because I'm a reformer and not a radical. But you can't just go up to people and force them to do things. And this is why I think we're seeing this authoritarian left that says, we don't care, just impeach the president. What does that mean? It means we're moving towards a territory where there's no bridge. You've got the right and you've got the left moving further and further left, where they're saying, screw off, we don't care about you. We're not going to work with you. We're not going to negotiate. We're just going to vote to remove you. Where can that lead? In one direction. So Trump said there would be a revolt. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. But I certainly think whatever happens, if they did impeach Trump over something like this, it would get really bad. I don't know about a revolt, but it would definitely put us on that path. So anyway, here's what I'll end by saying. They always do this. They've tried this before. I don't think it'll go anywhere, but we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens, because is it surprising to anybody that on the first day of the new Congress they do this? No, of course not. Anyway, stick around. I've got more videos coming up on this channel, and I'll see you in a few minutes.